Chris. In this video we're going to show you how we're actually going about repairing and making a window around a sink that's got water damage from continual water splashing on it. We're going to show you how to repair that and look like new again. We have a window here that's right behind a sink, and it's getting a lot of water and moisture on a stained and lacquered window, and it's caused a lot of damage, water damage, and it's worn out the clear coat on the window. And we're actually sanding this window. We're just using 3M sanding sponges, and then we're going to stain it with a BAC stain and let that dry for about 2 hours, and then we're going to clear coat it with a Minwax water-based oil modified clear coat. And as you can see, a close-up view of this, you can see we've actually sanded it and trying to get down and sand as much of the stain off and clear coat off as we can and smooth out the edges. Again, there's a lot of nicks and scratches on this window, and those will all be covered up when we actually wipe our BAC stain on it. And we're actually using a Sherwin-Williams BAC stain you got right here, and these are fast drying commercial and industrial stains, and we're just going to be wiping it on with a rag. Prior to staining and clear coating this window, we're going to be masking the tile and grout off down here so we don't have any bleed through of stain onto the grout. We're going to be using Sure tape, frog tape. It's a green tape that swells and doesn't allow any bleeding through. I actually took in this window, I just used a 3M sanding sponge, a medium sanding sponge, just went around sanded this window by hand. And then I just took a duster brush. I had an old paintbrush that I went around, dusted it off, and I vacuumed up all the dust and made sure it's dust free now. And now we're getting to the process where we're using Sherwood BAC wiping stain to actually begin staining it, and that stain will help hide any nicks, scratches, and any the sanding where you've broken down to the actual stain coat. And this we had to do a lot of sanding, so it took off the stain. And I just took Sherwin's. You can just match these stains. You can take a piece of wood down and match it. I have about 20 of them in our shop, and I just brought them down, started sampling them on the wood. I found one that actually matched, and we're going to be staining it. And I actually like using the Sherwin-Williams BAC wiping stains because they dry in 1 hour, so you can clear coat them in an hour. Most Minwax stains and other stains you'll buy at do-it-yourself places like Home Depot and Lowe's, they take 4 to 6 hours to dry, and sometimes longer, and then you can't top coat them. And we're trying to get this window done in 1 day while we're actually painting the kitchen too. So I'm going to be staining it. I actually just use a rag. I like putting a pair of latex gloves on because I don't want any of the stain on my hands, and that way I can just pull the gloves off and my hands are clean at the end of the day. So I just take a little lint free, some type of good cloth that's not going to make a mess, and I'm just going to dip a little bit of the stain in, and we're going to begin wiping it on the window. And just going to wipe it in, let it soak in really good. And this stain matches really good, and it begins hiding all the nicks and cracks. And you can see the green tape I put around there, that's frog tape, and that's to protect any tile or grout from getting any of the stain on it bleeding through. We don't want it to bleed through onto their white tile and discolor their tile. So that frog tape works really well with keeping your stain from bleeding through. And just, you want to work it down into all these cracks. I'm going to wipe this whole window down with stain, and then I'm going to take a clean part of my cloth and then wipe off the excess. And I'll go through a couple of these little cloths, and you don't want this cloth to get soaking wet with stain where you can't wipe off the excess. And you can see how it hides all the sanding and scratches and nicks pretty well. And then once you clear coat it, it'll actually even hide it even better. And so we're going to continue staining this window, and then I'll show you how we go about clear coating it in that process. Just got this window stained now, and all the scratches, nicks, and dings are all gone and hidden. Looks like a freshly stained piece of wood. We actually ran around, put some 9-inch paper down also to protect our tile and sink too, just a little added protection. And now we're going to let this set for an hour, and then we're going to coat it with our Minwax oil modified polyurethane. In this project, we'll be using a Helmsman indoor-outdoor spar urethane semi-gloss product, and that product can withstand the water damage that is caused from being behind the sink a lot better. And I'll be using a synthetic bristle throwaway brush that I can just discard when I'm done with this small project. I have used my 2-inch synthetic bristle brush, and I have now brushed a very light coat over this entire window. And I've got my heater set up to dry our first coat, and then I'll come back and apply our second coat. It's a very cool day, so I opened up the windows, and then I brushed a coat on the inside of the windows, closed them back up just a little bit so they're not touching, and then I'll apply my second coat in about 2